Hey everyone, welcome back to more Star Dynasties. I'm Disturbing Puppets. We're continuing here with our polity, the Scrooge sovereignty, and we've had a few changes. So we do have this central area under our control. We've got the farmers still. The Galloways have kind of given away a bunch of their territory to the Arlanos, which is odd. We did get the Arlanos in, so that is a good move for us. We did give them a bunch of cash to do that, and hopefully they will stay loyal. That is my main concern. They haven't been in very long, and they've expanded into territory that was part of the Galloways. So if they leave, it's going to be a big problem. We'll see what happens. Still would like to get the Tanners to come in. I think that would be nice. We could then maybe try to make a move on the Lindsays, but I'm worried the Lindsays are just going to suddenly jump over to the Cunninghams, who were the Conley Kingdom at one point not too long ago. Speaking of that, let me just take a look. If I was to ask you to join, absolutely not. I think the Tanners might if I threaten them, was kind of the last thing that I saw. But they're not in great shape, and you're actually sick at the moment, which is interesting. Will now it's up to will accept if threatened because of the Arlanos expanding. Interesting. Okay, so we could force them in next turn if we wanted to do that. I don't know if I want to do that, but if we need to get somebody in, like something bad happens, like say the Lindsays join them, we might want to look at expanding. It would be great if I could get the Jordans and the Linds and all these guys to come in as well. Like that would be fantastic, as well as the Blackwells away from the Clark clan, but I don't think that's likely to happen. We've done pretty much everything I can, although I'm remembering now that I do have Scrooge. Chill Scrooge here is sick. Do I want him to recover is the question. Do I want to actually spend any of my resources to make him liable to stick around much longer? I'm not really sure I do. If he dies, he dies. I'm not really that upset about it, honestly. So I'm just going to let it run. And I'm going to use any extras we don't use, I just get extra money for. So there really isn't any reason necessarily to not. It's not a lot of money, but it's, free extra money. And we can build up additional cash. So I think that is a good way to go for us. So let's just hit end turn and see what happens. And if Chill Scrooge dies, he dies. All right, the Linds rebuilt the infrastructure on Avior and established a new colony. So yeah, that was another one that was abandoned, was Avior. So Alcyone here is also derelict, and we could rebuild it, but it does require a huge amount of cash, and that's something we might want to look at. We could start that project actually next turn. We'd have enough, but I kind of want to build up what I've already got, but it's not necessarily a bad idea to come out and grab something like that. We got that grain silo repaired, so you like that quite a bit. But we've gotten a lot of things like that, and some of these territories like Wazin and Missam have things that are just not looking good for the colony. You failed to avenge Kenyon Phillips' crime. Okay, so she's a little bit upset with us. I don't think I did. I wasn't going to go to war with her, so yeah, she just doesn't like us a little bit as much. That's fine, but she still likes us quite a bit, so we should be okay there. And we didn't do anything there, so he's a little upset with us, but we just built him something, so that kind of offsets. And you're handing off the Jordans again to the Cunninghams. They've done this a few times back and forth. That is very weird. Strange. All right. So, what is going on? Are you being a... Is it a rebellion? Wait a minute. My first cousin's daughter is leading a rebellion on Terrabellum. So you are defending, and you're... Like, I'm actually distantly related to both of them. But more distantly to Noala, of course. Yeah, I mean, I think we've got to help out the Baroness, despite... I don't know what Roxanne is doing. No rebellions, please. Yeah, chill. You can go ahead and do that. Sure. Okay, so the rebellion has failed. She literally had like 6 ships. I don't know what you're thinking. There wasn't unrest there, so just kind of a weird situation. Razia is pregnant. Yeah, just a distant relative down the line somewhere. I don't know how she's pregnant when you both are at opposite ends of the universe, but okay. Well, I mean, I have a guess, but it's not good for the family. Your son was kidnapped by pirates. Okay. Your advice was life-saving. He reflects later safe and sound. How did you get back, you ask? I just did what you always told me. So I told them I was your heir, saved my life. I refused to sit idly and escaped. He gets sick, but we do get some, like, accolades for him and fame for him. I told him I was a nobody. I'm fine with him escaping. We could do that. Your son sighs. The gunshot to my leg was not planned, but they were trying to slow me down. It'll make a courageous scar, you smile. So we'll have to get medical attention onto him. I'm assuming this is Miss Sam. No, it's Scene, which is up here. Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. It's kind of a crappy little outpost of the Arlanos over there. Chill recovered. That's too bad for Chill. Marriages there. Data center repaired. Raised taxes. Executed someone. Okay, Snyder Dominion's been under the Tanners long enough that that's kind of considered fine at this point. Okay, so I did ask the Clarks to get some kind of justice for us being disinherited, at least my children and my husband in this case, and she did fine them to do that, so levied a fine for the disinheritance. Okay. That apparently makes everything good. Yeah, I'm not super happy about this whole situation down here. Rebellion failed. Not a huge surprise. Changing leaders. Yeah, I don't know what the Lins are bonkers giving away the Jordan colonies over and over again. I don't know why in the world they'd be doing that. At this point, like, he doesn't want you around. You want to join us? No, he's not interested in joining us. Not even slightly. How about the Lindsays? I'm assuming not, because it wasn't last time. I'm just kind of looking. I'm not even asking. I'm just sort of looking. No. The Tanners. I bet you it's changed already. May accept if we ask politely. That might mean that she'll want a whole ton of cash, so that could be an option, potentially. We'll accept if threatened. Yeah, I mean, that might be worth it if it is just a money situation. Before we do that, I do want to get you being treated medically. Assassinate my son. Execute my son. No, where? Medical attention. Your training, military. Yeah, let's have him, like, try to keep him alive as a priority. That would be a bit more important. His stats are halved. That's why they look terrible at the moment, because he's sick. That's going to affect our military short term here, but not too bad. Who's free? All right, we finished construction. So we could do some construction as well. That might be an option too. So Scene is looking bad. Nothing we can really do about that necessarily. I mean, I could build something out there, but I'm not super enthused. I'd rather build up. I think Wazin and Miss Sam both need. Wazin's not terrible. Miss Sam's pretty awful, so I'd like to build that up. We could rebuild Alcyone. It'd be 240, I think, credits. Yeah, so we could rebuild it, and then we would get a claim on it because we'd be the ones rebuilding it, which would put a big, weird junction connection problem in the middle of the Jordan colony, so I'm not sure how that would work out exactly. I think if I build it, I've got the claim on it. I don't think that they would have a traditional claim on it because they held it before it was destroyed. It was destroyed and I rebuilt it, so it's mine. I might go ahead and just ask the Tanners and see what they want. I'll bet you it's going to be a money thing. So if I ask nicely, 320 credits. I've got the money. That's part of what we built up for. We are a money printing machine. So, yeah. Come on in. Wait, we only got you? We didn't get the Snyders. So the Snyders are now independent, so that would be a separate deal. That's unfortunate, since you only had a couple systems. I thought we'd get the Snyders as well, but instead she let them cut loose. Okay. As far as vassals go, we're fine. We're at 11 of 16. Okay, so the Snyders are out. You like us a lot. I did just give you a literal boatload of money. I might want to change my diplomatic efforts over to you, although she likes me quite a bit too. So the Snyders we could possibly bring in as well if we just went ahead and went to them and asked now. Can I do anything? You will accept if we ask politely. Let's ask politely then. All right, he's also in. He likes us well enough, so we've now just massively expanded up here. We do now have a border with the Phillips. It looks like the main connection's here. That's potentially dangerous because that's their capital, right next to your capital, which is kind of a problem, potentially. We might want to try to get relations going with them. She actually has a positive view of us, so that's probably not too terrible. Yeah, maybe I think we switch. So we stop improving relations here, and maybe we switch out to, what is this, the Willis territories? I think that is what we want to do. So let's stop that diplomatic offensive. Where is that? She is... Because she's not actually a Tanner. Is that Kenyon Phillips? Yes. So we stop that. And let's start working on relations. Let's check on the Clarks as well. They are distantly related to us. Opinions, decent enough. Let's work on the Phillips Kingdom here. Actually, that's just that part of them. I don't even know. Where is the capital of the Phillips Kingdom? There. Okay, I think we go actually to you. Let's improve relationships with you. So we've just massively expanded our hold by grabbing all of the old Tanner territories. Individually, though, so it is a bit of a mess. If we really want to clean things up, we could potentially do things like... I mean, they wouldn't like it, but we could give stuff. So we could potentially give the entire Snyders to the Tanners, something like that, but I don't think they would be super happy about that. So that's just the capital of the Willis territories. That's not as big of an issue. I thought it was the capital of the entire league, but it's not. Up here, what do we got? Stellaris Confederation has been wiped out. Yeah, if we could get these two in, we'd be in really good shape. As it is, we're sort of now... Like, we're about the only thing that potentially holding back the Cunninghams, but really, if I could get the Jordans to switch, that would be the main thing. But there's been a huge power switch now. As long as we can hold all this stuff, we're now looking like a much bigger player, which might mean that they would be more likely to want to do something. Anyway, so we are weak somewhere. Is it still? Yeah, it's seen, which isn't that big a deal. We're not at war with anybody at the moment, but somebody could try to take advantage of it. The only connection really is to the Lindsays, so the Lindsays and the Arlanos might fight back and forth. If they do, like, yeah, whatever, vassal fighting. Somebody else, not as big of a deal. So I think we want to do some building, but I don't have any money for that, so let's just rebuild fleet on the home system, I think. So that's going to give me a 50% replenishment rate increase for building up our fleet. Our military stats kind of tanked because our son, who's not great at it, is now head of the military because of Jill freaking out trying to kill me. And then him being sick, so he's got a big reduction in his stats. And then my stats aren't super awesome in military, but they're not awful. Up to a 64 now in military, which is quite good. Currently, I'm being trained in diplomacy and technology, I think. Yeah, technology and diplomacy, because those are a bit low. Really good administrator, though. Really good overall stats and stuff for her, but my heir not quite as good, so we have to do a lot of training and try to get him in decent shape by the time he's actually going to be in charge of anything. Don't really have much action points left for me to do anything, so we'll just kind of let it run. I do have Marley that we could potentially try to arrange a marriage for. He's my first cousin. He's decent tech. We could potentially hold on to him. He's kind of general okay across the board. And maybe we could marry somebody in. Like, I feel like I need more administrators, possibly, so we can build stuff. Once we get a lot of cash coming in, we'll be in good shape. Now, the income here is only really going to show me what it was last turn. So we made it over 100 last turn. Our base system alone is, what is that, 41? 41.9 just for our home system? That's crazy. Cost of inflation. So because we had too much wealth, we're paying some extra stuff out. All right. I don't think I've ever noticed the inflation mechanic before. I think we're in good shape. Let's just go ahead and end turn. Not much else I can really do. All right, Barry Farmer has lost interest in his wife, who is my first cousin. All right, my son celebrates coming of age, so who is this? This is Charles. He is actually very good. Actually, he is much better than my heir. Mostly a diplomat, but he's got good stats across the board, and he actually got brave, honorable, intelligent, loyal, and, you know, greedy, which is a bit of a downside. But yeah, he's a far better potential heir than his older brother. I could look at potentially changing the inheritance laws, but we'll see what happens. Alright, guardianship ended. So Lynn has charged the Conleys with avenging his crimes. Sure. Whatever. Okay, and then he leveled the fine on her. He actually gave her control of the system quite a while ago, and now he's like, I don't like you. I'm gonna find you. Like, okay. Whatever, dude. So this guy wants control of the Snyder Dominion. I just got them. They were part of the Tanners. I'm really not interested in giving you control of them. I don't know what your military looks like, though. So, for example, if I was to look here at military, I can get about 120 ships there, 140, 150. You're looking at 90, probably at most, so I should be pretty safe. That's the only connection there. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. All right, so we're invited to a feast for the birth of the heiress. Sure, why wouldn't we go? Yeah, who will represent me in the tournament? I'm not, I'm decent military, but I'm not fantastic. I'm probably better than my other options, though. Yeah. All right, I'll participate. So we're going to fight James Leong, who's actually a very good fighter. We'll just fight normally. We were defeated right off the bat. That's fine. So we don't get any honors or accolades or anything. The feast in honor of Duke Heiress Jaleel Drake was a large success. The guests depart in fine humor. Nothing too crazy. We didn't embarrass ourselves or anything. Archon Clark is charged with avenging Duke Tex Snyder's crime, the annexation of Sirius by the Snyder Dominion. So we're under no obligation. She'll expect us to punish him, but we aren't under necessarily an obligation. I'm just going to ignore it. So Lawrence Hobbs wants support in the combat at Sirius. Why would I help someone trying to overthrow the Baron? Not related to me in any way, shape, or form. He's actually a very good tech guy, but yeah. No, not going to do that. Yeah, I'll warn him, sure. Refuse to help the rebellion. The Baron wants support. I can help the Baron. We don't have access to Sirius, but which is odd. We can go through other people's territory if they let us. Yeah, I'll help. That's fine. Okay, rebellion failed. He's gonna like us because we helped out, or at least said we would help. Let's see. Baroness Farmer wants support in the combat at Yilden. What is going on? You're the defender. The attacker has quite a large force. Is this just a rebellion? I think this is just a rebellion. You're part of the farmer territories, House Jarvis of Yilden. Yeah, he's just trying to overthrow her rule, it looks like. Yeah, I'll agree to help out. He's actually got a decent fleet, surprisingly. I'm not sure who... Okay, who won? Okay, so she put down the rebellion. Alright, she defeated the revolt. But Yilden was damaged. Son's health has improved, but will never completely recover. That's unfortunate, so he's going to be sickly, which increases chance of him getting sick, decreases reputation, which does suck, but not super bad. Again, it's another thing that just makes him less good of a candidate to be our heir, as opposed to his younger brother now. So we'll see about that. Duchess Phillips charged with avenging Lindsay's crimes, the annexation of Saddle Melek, secession of Saddle Melek. We're under no obligation. Yeah, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to tick them off for any reason when I potentially want them inside our rapidly expanding economic co-prosperity sphere. Known to person revealed that Executive Isabella Farmer falsely defamed Baroness James Jordan. Okay, sure. We've got visitors. some kind of diplomat. Your heir has earned your house members' respect. People say he'll make a worthy successor, so just people's view of him has improved. I don't know that I really like that. The rivalry between you and Chill Scrooge is getting out of hand. He's not even on the council anymore. This week alone, you've stormed out of staff meetings 3 times, and Chill Scrooge spent half his time plotting future contests in his quarters. Perhaps the rivalry should end. Increased chance. We lose the rivalry. Small chance we just hate each other. Yeah, we'll try to stop. Very well, suppose things have gone too far. With the hatchet buried, hopefully you and Chill Scrooge can coexist peacefully, so we lose the rivalry. Opinion goes up, which has now made him potentially look like a good candidate. But I can't really kick my heir off the council without really ticking him off, so I can't really replace him as military. You found out that Zaviria, I'm assuming something like that, Blackwell put an experimental love serum in negotiator Enrico Blackwell's food. Okay, another little bit of blackmail. Doyle Cunningham, skimmed money from House Cunningham's coffers. We could just release that information. And maybe I will, actually. So we're super happy at the moment. Fairly well liked. Scene is the only place we're quite weak. We've got another event coming up soon. Since I turned down the Phillips, I just want to check. Your opinion of us is still not bad. Arlanos, it's quite good. We didn't really do much, I don't think. We're still working on the Lindsays. Yeah, she loves us. Not interested. So even though she completely is maxed out and loves us, she's not interested at all in joining. If I had more money, then probably we'd have an option to do something like that. Yeah, just weird stuff going on with inheritance, changing council. Yeah, nothing too crazy. So I am kind of related to the Blackwells up here. Now, I might be able to get them to leave the Clark clan even just by asking. I bet you if I had money, they would definitely go for it for money, but I don't have the money, because it does say they may accept if asked politely. Because we are closely related. And honestly, my husband should be in charge of the Blackwells at the moment. So that's a whole other issue. Well, we got a new person in charge at Electra. Let's just make sure... Okay, opinion's good. That's fine. Just want to make sure my vassals are fairly steady. Just checking out unrest here real quick. Okay, so what happened over here? Marriage alliances, sure. Overly Scrooge didn't tell me this, became outrageously drunk during the feast, embarrassing herself. Okay, that's my spy master. Got super hammered at the feast, apparently. Alright, how is our fleet looking? Overall, 221, so we're down a little bit because of the weird stuff going on, even though we are rebuilding. Our upper limit, I think, has gone up to 283. So I would like to have somebody constantly helping us rebuild the fleet. So if I was to release the information... Yeah, who was it? Doyle Cunningham. Is that you? No. Well, another little faction disappeared over here. The Villas, or Villas, ate them. Yeah, leader over here is doing weird experiments on people, which is not great. It's like one of his own relatives tried to rebel against him and failed, and they executed him. Yeah, the Jordan colonies, these guys are a little crazy. He is generally disliked. No way he's going to switch sides or anything at this point. But I'm kind of picking up all these little smaller independents. If I can get the Lindsays, I think we'd be in really good shape to kind of pressure and cut off this alliance, but they might fall apart anyway. It's kind of the nature of things. But anyway, my blackmail, so for Doyle... I don't even know what your position is, really. So he's the head of administration for the Cunninghams. Reveal the information. It seems like everyone knows that I revealed the information, so he would not like us too much. It doesn't necessarily damage the Cunninghams. If I extort him, what can I get? Money. %61% chance to get 15 credits. Whatever. Not a huge deal. Demand he train us in secret. Huh. That's interesting. I would get +4 to my worst skill. That's definitely of interest. And if it fails, he just gets a less opinion of me. And I reveal the secret. So, I mean, honestly, that's not terrible. Yeah, I'll do that. Executive Doyle Cunningham bent your blackmail. Very well, he sighs. What do you want to know? The two of you meet in secret to work on your weakest skills, away from prying eyes of your house, +4 to our security. Alright, destroy the evidence. That's actually a very decent result for me, I think. Just for my personal stats, getting security up a little bit was my worst. No real overall negative downsides to that. I don't suppose I can actually get anything else. So Conley's, you are a super spy. You're also in the Cunninghams. Poison someone. I mean, that's not very nice. If I extort you, what can I get out of it? Assist my espionage team. Loosen the security detail. Yeah. Nothing really of interest there, honestly. I do have some dirt on the Blackwells, but I was hoping to potentially cause some rifts there, but I don't know if we even need to keep running a spy operation up here. I'd probably like to start doing something else. Because we are pretty close with them, honestly, even though... Like, it's not him who disinherited us, it was his dad who disinherited us, so he's actually the younger brother of my husband, so, you know, it causes all kinds of weird issues with that. So who do we have free? Kumi and Charles. So Charles is our other son, who's actually quite good. We could kind of do whatever with him, really. Kumi, mainly we want to train people, and I think she was training the heir, I think is what we were doing. So currently you're only being trained in diplomacy. I think he is getting a buff to military at the moment. 20% to military skill increase rate. So I don't necessarily need to train him in military. He'll keep going up anyway. We might want to look at making him just better at anything, because he's kind of awful overall. Administration would be nice to improve. I think I might do that. Let's do a train on you. Okay, that sounds kind of dirty, but not that kind of train. We're going to train you in administration, and my sister is going to do that. So that should be about 1 a turn, basically, because she's so good at tech. Yep. I wish it would show me increase rates and stuff. So I do have that bonus. The only trait he's got is individualistic, and right now he's got enthusiastic about council role, but that only lasts for 6 more turns. Because he asked for a spot, and then we gave it to him. Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily like you that much, honestly. Alright, what can we build? Nothing that great here necessarily on Wazin. I do have some things I can build onto Crux. Quell Unrest at range of 3 isn't that big a deal. The wealth is better, because it gives us some money back. But I might just build up Massam, because it literally has almost nothing on it. And it's pretty cheap, actually, to do that. Everything's like 60s. There's a lot of really good 60 cost things we can build here. I'm going to go ahead, let's have you solar array. I'm going to have, let's shift my mom over to that, because that'll be very quick. So just in a couple turns, and then I'll have my son, who just came of age, running the rebuild fleet action here instead. That'll help him build up his administration as well. So we are getting 45%, so it's not that much of a difference, 45% increase rate. I don't want to marry him off yet, but we could arrange a marriage for Marley. How much room do I have in the house? Oh, we've got room for like 12 more people. Okay, yeah. So Marley, what can we potentially do? As far as a marriage goes. It looks like he's part of the Arellano clan, House Ramirez, so he's not even in my family. So it's odd that I have to make a decision about who he's going to marry. Yeah, I don't know why I'm the one making that decision if he's not in House Scrooge, even though he is a Scrooge. I guess because he's closely related to me enough that I have some kind of a say in that. I could potentially try to bring him in to our family. Like, that's an action we could take instead. Who he marries doesn't really matter that much, honestly. Try to find somebody roughly the same age. And again, like I said, it doesn't necessarily matter that much. Like, all the options are... Well, the youngest is 28, is the option here. And, I mean, she's not awful. She's from the Lynn Collective. Sure. We'll ask. He said, nope. All right. Fine, you're not going to get married then. Yeah, so I can't offer a place in House Scrooge. Why is it invalid? So he's... It's not because he's more related to himself than to me. What? Is a closer relative to Marley? Oh, Mitch Scrooge. Okay. So Mitch is, I think, my cousin? Or some, maybe not. I think he married into the family at something at one point. And yeah, he's just on the council. So yeah, it's weird that Mitch is in the family, but his son is not. Whatever. How are we looking? Not terrible. We definitely could have better security. We just don't have many people that are good at it. Although Verlie's getting good, but she's at the point where she could, like in this game, in your 50s, you could just drop dead any day. So that would suck because I don't know that I have a good spy replacement. And then, of course, Frederick slowly getting better in military will help, but we need to train the crap out of him, try to get him better overall. I think that's about all I really want to do at this point. So I think we'll just let it go and see what the event is. But at this point, a lot of weird stuff will happen when we hit end turn. There's just so many interrelationships and things going on. Is anything crazy? Yeah, Yilden is looking pretty shitty. I mean, we could even start repairing something. There's even a cheap thing I could repair in Yilden. Because it is looking rough in Yilden. I'd have to pull somebody off of like fleet repair, probably, to do that. But honestly, 30 creds is not much to get something rebuilt. Something's better than nothing. Like, part of the unrest can be like there's just not many things repaired in the colony, so that it's just overcrowded, small, and just awful. Just rebuild the jail. And something is better than nothing. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that. So Colton's pretty good, and you're pretty good. So you're training her in diplomacy. We could potentially stop that, I suppose. Keep you on the fleet. Yeah, let's do that. Travel if you have to, just to get something going over there. Like, really, Barry should be doing that himself. Pollux doesn't have a lot either, honestly. How about your capital, Parima? Yeah, even their capital, like, they've got some things built up, but quite a few things still not taken care of. Like, the farmers are just not as wealthy as they once were. Actually, what is that? High taxes. Okay. So he's desperate for cash at this point for some reason. All right, yep, we're good. Let's go ahead and hit end turn and see how many different events we have come rolling in. Populist movement on Desheba is demanding that the colony become part of the Scrooge sovereignty. Really? Look at that. We've gained a weak claim on Desheba. So I'm liked enough that just generally that's just going to happen occasionally. If I could build Alcyone and then get Desheba, that would be quite nice. What's going on? There's combat and Yilden. This is the attacker. Why is everyone trying to overthrow my cousin's rule of Yilden? He's the attacker. He's the aggressor trying to overthrow her. No. Yes, let's warn her. We didn't help the rebellion. She wants help putting down the rebellion. Yes, we'll help with that. Okay, rebellion failed. Nothing was damaged, it looks like, which is good. What? And then my cousin was murdered and was caught while the murder happened. So I don't know what was going on. Like, she must have been hated. That's kind of bonkers. Mitch Scrooge inherited Yielden. Okay. All right. So a duchess up in Mirzam is offering guardianship of her son. I'm already the guardian of somebody else, so why are you asking me this? I can't do it. I'm just going to refuse, because I already have a guardian. I already have a guardianship, so no. She's slightly unhappy, but I don't know what you expected. Okay, so they have a child. My first cousin and his wife. Phelan is very odd. It's a girl. We'll do like Filipina. And they had a baby girl. Candida. Also my first cousin and his child. Another girl, in this case... Sure, Casey. Sure, why not? I don't know. Your brother-in-law has invited you to attend a feast for the birth of Duke Heiress Hayden Blackwell. Sure. Alright. I could fight myself. That's probably my best option, honestly. Yeah, I'll participate. Gonna fight Admiral Jens Arroyo. Or Arroyo. Again, I'm just fighting normally. You can try to, like, kill other people, depending on who you're matched up with if you wanted to, but no. It's always kind of iffy. Caprice Blackwell. She is a very good fighter. She beats us, not a big surprise. And she actually performed admirably, so she got some accolades, as did Barry. Look at you, Barry. So the feast in honor of the birth of Duke Heiress Hayden Blackwell was a large success. Guests depart to find humor. Nothing too crazy. Archon Ursula Clark failed to avenge your brother-in-law's crime. So she did fine him for some of the issue. So it did kind of drop relations with the Clarks a bit. So where is this? Arcab. Down there. In the Arlanos, which I don't think I've even looked at yet. Your expedition teams returned from a planet in the Arcab system. Furnace hot and pressurized, the planet is deeply inhospitable. They braved this hellish world to investigate a buried structure. Now they confirm it's vast, metallic, and ancient. Your sister cannot wait to dig it out. It's an ancient ship and immense. Your sister can't keep the wonder from her voice. Too unwieldy for battle, absurdly slow. It was a science ship. There are banks of ruined servers everywhere, but there's an entire industrial plant too. What were they making? In any case, the surviving servers are a boon to your scientist. Arcab now has the trait Science Arc. A vast ancient ship lies half buried on a furnace planet there. So we can use them for data processing. So we get +5 administration for 20 turns, or take them apart. +5 technology for 20 turns. We are totally fine on administration. We could always use... I mean, we're good on... Really, our two main are administration and science, so it doesn't make too much difference. Let's take them apart and study them. We've located the command center, but the logs are corrupt. Your sister tilts the camera feed down. We did find this fellow, though. It's an ancient skeleton cooked by the heat. The uniform bears House Holland's signature. That house once ruled this space, your sister muses. Perhaps this is all that remains of an expedition of theirs? In that case, House Holland may know more about their ship. New action available. Inquire about the Science Arc, or scrap the Science Arc. Helping the people. You have so much, your people have so little. spend some time listening to their needs. So we make everybody happy. I do have money, but that's not an option. No, I'm greedy, I guess, so I can't do that. They're not worth my efforts. All right, we'll spend some time listening to them. That's fine. It's right and proper that a ruler should aid your people. So we just kind of got a bit more happiness from our people. Found out that Duke Consort China Blackwell put an experimental love serum in your brother-in-law's food. What's with the Blackwells and love serums? Like, that's the second time we've found somebody up there is like drugging people into loving each other. Someone got snubbed. And the feast ran out of alcohol. Alright, well, that's not that huge of a deal. Changing the council up over there. So Mitch Scrooge got Yilden. Nothing too crazy. Just looking. Roxanne Scrooge is dead. So she led a rebellion there, so I wonder if she was... It didn't say she was executed. Odd. Flare-up of dissent on Mirzam. How's that looking, actually? Unrest is 40. Going up quite a bit. We might want to do something about that. Taxes increased. Nothing too crazy that I can see. Oh, got an outbreak of Ride-along down there. Some accusations flying around down here in the Jordan colonies, it looks like. Oh, the leader is very ill. Pineda's and the Snyders having some kind of connection, looks like. Yeah, nothing too nutty, though. Not seeing much else. So we do have something where we can ask... where was it? Related to the science arc. Oh, we got a bloodline point. This one's a bit rough, actually. So we could just go military. That's actually a really good, solid bonus right off the bat. We just immediately get 10 to our military forever. 10 to our diplomacy. Also pretty good. We get a nice bonus right off the bat. If we want to go to tech, we go through this, and then the next one would give us technology. I don't know that we need this, but... so we could have superior DNA, so less chance that people get ill each turn, and we're more likely to have the intelligence trait. That's pretty darn good. Those are probably my best options, either military, diplomacy, or going this route to eventually get tech. And then we could still maybe pick those up. But the more points we have, the more time it really takes to get what you need to get another point. So we've maxed out the merchants and administrators, mainly to get the renowned markets, which are giving us much cash. Military is very tempting. We've got a lot of good diplomats, which sort of offsets the fact that we're not like a diplomatic family necessarily. We've got that negative trait, but this sort of counteracts it a little bit, and that we're kind of disliked overall. Or like the chance of having more people with the intelligent trait, it'd be very tempting. And then up this route, skill increase, but that's only for wards. Healing. I mean, there's no way we're getting that far up because it just costs more and more as it goes along. If I had to take something right now, I think I would just go military. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this because I feel like we're in a weak spot when it comes to military overall. And I would like to be a bit stronger in case it comes to that. Like, hopefully we just buy whatever and we pay off mercenaries to fight for us, but I'm going to take the warrior bloodline. So we just get a +10 to our military stat for the family. Even with that, we're still only 149, which is pretty mediocre, but eventually that'll get better because Frederick is going to get better. over time, hopefully. Yeah, and then our other, like we're doing quite well on diplomacy. Security's not great. Okay, so what can we do? Okay, that's still seen. Related to this. Honam is where they're based. So you guys, maybe we have to talk to you specifically? No? Okay. Don't see something under Honam itself. House Holland's action menu. Okay. I don't think I've ever messed with like a house specifically's action menu. Inquire about the science arc. Let's do that. You approach House Holland's ambassador. Inquire about the science arc. The ambassador is all smiles. After some digging, we discovered our people sent an expedition 3 centuries ago. They took a copy of the ship's logs. I understand they're of interest to you. House Holland is happy to grant you the files as a gesture of goodwill towards House Scrooge. Excellent. The science arc was a terraforming ship. According to its logs, the so-called Eden ship was a project of the pre-collapsed League of Spacefaring Nations run by Galileo Institute scientists. It was designed to pump gases into a planet's atmosphere, change its climate, and eventually seed life. In the final entries, stranded after the collapse tried to terraform a planet in Arcab. Whether due to human error or insufficient resources, they created a runaway greenhouse effect, transforming the planet into a boiling hell world. But you wonder if properly harnessed, could the ship's purpose be fulfilled? That could change everything. That night you dreamt of a forest on old Earth, the scent of pines, the gentle sun, green leaves sighing in the breeze. You wake to the hum of the station, a sterile cage of metal and plasteel. You stare out the window, breathing recycled air hundreds of years old, feeling the crushing weight of centuries of life in space. Could that dream of a green world come to pass? It would be difficult, perhaps impossible. So, we have different options. Station living is prison. Human race needs green fields. So yeah, in this world, we're not living on any planets. We're living in like habitats and old ships and that kind of stuff. No one's actually living on planets in any of these systems because nothing is habitable. So it's kind of an awful situation. Our people are in a death spiral. Only a livable planet can break it. A habitable world would cement our power in the cosmos. No, it cost too much. Scrap the ship. What would we get? For 30 turns, 20 technology, science arc industrial plants to decrux, extra wealth, military replenishment. Yeah, I think this is actually the tech way to win, is to do this and actually get the colony rebuilt. Let's go. Our people are in a death spiral. Only a livable planet can break it. Your expedition team seeks out information on terraforming. Terraforming, that's a fool's errand. Most of House Scrooge are skeptical, but the team search nonetheless. So I believe in terraforming, which means everybody has a negative opinion of me, apparently, which is odd. Even my scientist sister has a negative opinion of me because of that. I believe terraforming is vital for our future, not just for House Scrooge, for the entire human race. Your mother supports your dream of a terraformed planet. So she now has the trait Terraforming Believer, but yeah, she's older. I don't think it's going to change anyone else's mind. They say terraforming's absurd. I say they lack perspective. It's my son Charles. A new Earth. What greater power center could House Scrooge ask for? Such a bold plan, completely unprecedented, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Your son supports your dream of a terraformed planet. So that was in Arcab. There's nothing that we can rebuild, it looks like. So it must be kind of special event stuff. We can scrap the science ship as a special option. That's it for the moment. So something might come up later where we have to do more to kind of invest in it or spend more time on it. But I think we're in a good position to stop here. So we went through the turn. We've expanded quite a lot. Things are fairly solid at the moment, and we're kind of leading towards the science ending if we can actually get it, which I haven't actually completed. I've never done the science ending. I've always just taken over most of the galaxy and then won that way. We'll continue kind of pushing that direction to sort of take stuff over and expand, especially with the Cunninghams trying to do the same thing. Like if they get too big, that just the game's going to end. So we need to be a strong counter to that potentially. And we do have the option of trying to go into Alcyone and take that over and rebuild it if we can with a ton of cash. That might be something we want to do eventually. We do have a claim on Disheba as well. So potentially we could, if we took this, we could then maybe ask or demand for Disheba because we would have a claim on it. And if they said no, we could potentially go to war just with the Jordans. Maybe. But even if we went to war with the rest of them, they're further away, so they can't really project force that well in our direction, but we'd have to be ready for it. And this is part of our territory itself, so we definitely want to build up Massam as well because we're sending fleets down through this area to head that direction. So that's something to kind of think about too. Alright, this has been more Star Dynasties. I've been Disturbing Puppet. Thanks for coming by. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, have a good one.